Good morning and welcome back. My name is Marcia Myrie, and I am your health and wellness and lifestyle and mindset coach. And today is our final wrap up day on introductions. We launched Just One Coach on Wednesday of last week, April 1st. And interestingly enough, I don't remember mentioning this, but when I launched, when I was set to launch, and was given that date to launch on April 1st, I had some apprehension, if I could be honest with you, because we know it is April Fool's Day. And I was like, this is not a joke. I'm actually launching. But I was talking to a support staff at Apple. And he told me, he said, wow, it's interesting that you're launching your business on April 1st. He said, because Apple launched their business on the same day, 50 years prior. I was like, interesting. Launched on the same date that Apple launched their business. And then one of my good friends, she texted me and said, wow, you're starting on April 1st, and that's the first day of Passover, which in the spiritual circles is a day of transformation, new beginnings. And so I thought that was quite interesting. So anyway, just a little bit of tidbit. Today, as I said, wrap up. And when I was reflecting on all that I shared with you, from my origins, my beginnings, where I was born, my family heritage, all of my work experiences, training, education, I remembered two more integral parts of my development. And that is, one, that I got trained as a certified behavioral consultant through, actually, I was exposed to a personality training called DISC, and was intrigued by it. Actually, the person who his company is in the Metro Atlanta, and he actually was the person who trained me. He was very passionate because at the time I was a classroom teacher, and he thought, actually his personal mission was to bring this information to teachers, because if we understood the personalities of our students and were able to teach them from those lenses, how much more impactful we would be. And so I became a certified behavioral consultant in personality development. I'm not going to go into it in details because at some point I'll probably share some information, because it is vital and is helpful. Because the motto of his business was, if I understand you and you understand me, it just simply makes for a better relationship. And wherever there are people, there's opportunity to maximize and thrive in our relationships. So understanding people's dominant personalities are helpful. And so I just want to give you just a quick overview of what that is. So if you think about, visualize a circle, and on the top hemisphere of that circle, I want you to write down the word. And if you want to write down, you'll know that it will be helpful if you have something to write on and with when you're listening to these sessions. Because remember, I told you initially, it's about information. And then once you get the information and then you apply it, it's about transformation in your life. So if you take a circle, on the top hemisphere of that circle, write the word outgoing. And on the bottom hemisphere, write the word reserve. So top, outgoing, bottom, reserve. And then on the right hemisphere of that circle, write the word people oriented. And then on the left, write task oriented. And if you put a line straight down from top to bottom, and then from across, from the left to the right, you'll have 4 quadrants. And on the top left quadrant, write the inside of that, write the letter D. And then top right, write I. Bottom right, write S. And then right next to it, the last part of the quadrant, write C. That spells disc. And basically, each of those letters represent words to help describe the dominant characteristics of that person. So the D are people who are more like dominant, doers, decisive. I's are people who may be influential, inspirational. S could be people who are steady and stable. C, people who are conscious and conscientious and correct. And did I get all letters? D, I, S, C. Oh, S. I don't think I said S. People who are stable, you're supportive type people. Status quo. And so that was a framework that, and it goes really in depth, but that was a training that I underwent, and it was very helpful for me personally in my classroom. Really, I took it to the classroom. That was the place I really focused all of that knowledge and information. But over the years, I've gotten better to utilize. I think that's one of my superpowers, where I'm able to relate with people on a deep level because I understand people and I give grace for a lot of their personalities, because there's no right or wrong, good or bad, better or worse. It's just how we're wired. And that information becomes very helpful to me today as a coach. So I wanted to share that in terms of everything that I'm sharing with you to meet your coach. And I said, I don't think I mentioned that I actually worked for my church for many years. Gosh, I said, wow, I've done a lot in this little bit of life that I have. And, but again, I'm sharing this information just so you know who it is you're getting when you stop by and listen in on these sessions. Like, who am I? What's my foundation? Inspect me. You know, I think that's important because that's the kind of person that I am. Whenever I connect with people, I don't want to hear things that's just on the surface. I want to kind of find out who they are. Where is their depth? Where are they coming from? And so, yes, I worked for my church, and I worked in 2 capacities in the time that I worked there. The first capacity, I would consider it more of a member and partner care role. The services I provided to the members and the partners of that ministry through daily contact was prayer support. People actually called in and they needed that support, whatever they were going through. I was their point of contact, and I prayed with them, prayed the scriptures over their lives. And then the other support I provided those people were spiritual resources and support. And so, again, it's always about prayer is a great foundation, but then having understanding, get understanding so that you can walk and thrive after you get off that call with me. All right, what is going to fortify you to continue to be prosperous, to continue to thrive spiritually in your life? So they were able to get resources through their contact as well with me. And I had a consortium of information, and I could lead people, guide them into material that will help sustain, because we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the words of our testimonies. And we have to renew our minds daily. See where that mindset coaching is coming in? All right, so I did that. And then on the latter end of my time working with the ministry I actually supported the executive team. And so what that means, I work to support direct support to my pastors. And that was a very wide net. I did, and my role varied. I had a couple of dominant daily roles, but wherever I was needed, that is what I did to support my pastors directly. And so I mentioned to you that I also have a very strong administrative gifting and calling on my life. And as many of you, you have uncommon callings. There's just more than one thing that you're gifted in and are skilled in, and you have natural abilities to accomplish. And so I wanted just to add those last two tidbits into the mix. And I think with that, it's a pretty comprehensive peek into my life and all of the ingredients that makes Marsha Myrie your health and wellness, your lifestyle, and your mindset coach. So once again, I thank you for stopping by. And remember, lasting change often begins with just one decision, and sometimes just one coach.